The Mandalorian, Chapter 14. The Tragedy. I'm Candler, and with me as always is fellow guild member, Brian. This is Grab the Remote. Mandasode. Mandasode, yeah.
Warning.
Major spoilers ahead.
Mandasode, yeah.
Nothing I say or you say will be able to do this episode justice. And I feel...
Wait, whoa. You liked the episode?
I love the episode.
I gotta tell you, it's gotta be my favorite episode. I haven't felt this many emotions since the day I tried my wife's prenatal vitamins. True story.
Every line of dialogue is memorable. The episode... So I say this about the last episode, like, oh, I love this episode, my favorite. And then you have this episode, which is by far the best Mandalorian episode that's ever been produced. And let me tell you something. I'm so invested. When I saw the tragedy come on the screen, I got very nervous. We all know this. Boba Fett did more in this episode than he ever did in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It is the quintessential Boba Fett episode that we've all been thinking about and wanting for decades. We have the Mandalorian Din being so appreciative of Grogu, kind of like you're a special kid, like you're a very special kid. How do you feel that the Razor Crest has met its doom?
I was fine. I was like, we'll get another ship. It's not like it's the Millennium Falcon.
And great to see Slave One. The ship designs were so, for me, in the trilogy, they were so unorthodox, especially with Slave One being such a weird looking ship, like the B-Wing fighter, the Y-Wing, all these ships they're really interesting looking ships. So for them to bring back Slave One, wish we figured that would happen.
Question: why did Boba Fett not get his armor back during that previous episode, The Marshal?
I feel like that Boba Fett did not take his armor from Cobb because maybe he was biding his time. Maybe he understood that Cobb needs the armor to defend the town, to kind of keep things status quo. I don't know. There's some honor piece there.
Also, why was Boba Fett following Mando before the events of the episode The Marshal?
Because of Fennec. He walked up on Fennec, so that is definitely him walking up on Fennec, yes. Presumed dead. Yes. From there is where the tracking starts.
This was by far my biggest fanboy moment. I thought my biggest fanboy moment was 1999 when I'm seeing the premiere of The Phantom Menace. I'm dressed up, in line, can't wait to see it. Haven't seen a Star Wars movie in years. There's a kid behind me making fun of me for being dressed up. Then I find out later it's Rian Johnson. This, by far, was my favorite fanboy moment. It's like I was a fanboy until this morning when I saw this episode.
Interesting. You had an epiphany.
I've never been so pulled in. I had no idea what the heck was going to happen. The force field. Was that the Force? Was that Baby Yoda?
Grogu, please.
Grogu, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I think it's The Rock, and I think you saw some Jedi butterflies floating around. Did you see the little butterflies kind of going around?
Loved it.
So that had something to do with it. I think if you're strong with the Force, then that happens, and he's sitting there, he's communing, and or he's in some sort of yoga pose. That's all I can say. But I do think this is like a Stonehenge. Obviously, I'm trying to see how they're going to connect this moment in Star Wars time to The Force Awakens. At some point, Luke creates the Jedi Temple with Ben Solo and a group, and things go wrong. And I'm trying to figure out what happened in between there and where that's going to take us. But I try not to think too much ahead.
After seeing this episode, Brian, I almost feel like now it's more likely that we will see Luke Skywalker at the end of this season. If you had told me that we would meet a Jedi or a Force user this episode, I would have thought probably not Luke. But where we are with the season, we have a few left. I have a feeling they're setting up for a big finale, and that finale is seeing Luke.
Deep fakes, and again, we've talked about this, but the way they've de-aged everybody, they can de-age him and shrink him, and it's almost like, even in the curious case of Benjamin Button, which was 2009, I guess, the end of 2009. Yeah. You have you have cutting class version of Brad Pitt. You have a pre-Thelma and Louise Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And he's kind of in shadows. If that can happen in 2009, we can make Luke Skywalker 30-something years old. Directed by Robert Rodriguez, the one-man filming crew. I think they had the name for him, but I think he's out of Texas now. He's one of these guys who could be independent. He does all these things by himself. Shoots, edits, scores, best friends with Tarantino, Spy Kids, El Mariachi, what else? Sin City, all those things. I mean, so for him to be attached to it as well, just this great director who jumps in and basically directs the best episode that's ever been.
Completely. It was a who's who of not only characters, but actors as well. Still can't believe it that we saw Boba Fett in action.
And then him just dispatching. So it's Fennec, Din, Boba versus the Stormtroopers.
Yes.
They all have their moments. I would say that Fennec's best moment was kicking the huge, bigger than the Raiders of the Lost Ark boulder down the hill and rolling over everybody. I loved watching that so much. And I definitely watched that again because it made me happy to watch that boulder roll over those jerks. But then you see Boba Fett and then again, we can talk a little bit about him getting a little lazy in Return of the Jedi, hanging out too long at Jabba's palace, not being effective versus Luke. I loved Boba Fett as a kid, drew Mandalorians constantly. To him to put that armor on and go to work. And now he's definitely more honorable now too, so.
And Boba is a son/clone of a foundling.
Yes. Good little piece of information there.
Yes, and so well executed.
Just having Boba Fett put that armor on, right? Because you kind of knew it was going to happen. It was the best, right? It
really was.
Best. So yeah, he's whatever happens, we have a great villain in Moff Gideon, and now we have the Dark Troopers, the robots that are very formidable.
Cara Dune appearing.
I'm happy about it. She took the badge that she decided. She looked at that thing and the elevator. She's like, I'm not taking that thing. Then she took it. I just think you got to bring the crew back. We're bringing back Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
The only Bostonian Star Wars member.
Yes.
Star Wars. But he's great. But this is a caper with implications, and we should be very worried about Grogu. I hate it. I mean, I really hated it for him. I feel terrible for him. And then again,
but he's tough. Did you see him with those stormtroopers?
Oh yeah, but he gets exhausted. He's this little. He's tiny. He's too tiny to.
Brian, did you notice anything with the stormtroopers? I felt like the voiceover, the voice of the stormtroopers sound very reminiscent of the original trilogy stormtroopers.
Yeah, definitely. And that's happened throughout the last couple of, I've noticed that when we
I'm like, are you the same guy from the 70s?
Yeah, the same. Maybe it's another drill.
Yeah.
All those guys are the same, right?
Yeah.
More Boba Fett. That's all we want is more. This could last. I could do this for many, many years. I could watch this series for many years. And maybe they could fix and tweak a little bit of what happens. I don't know how, but The Force Awakens, all that needs to be, we're leading to it. So we might as well try to fix the thing.
That was the one thing that wasn't pure joy about this episode. Is in the back of my mind, I do think the sequel trilogy. I just wish they didn't happen. But anyway, they did. So
they're there.
They're there.
That's right.
That's right. Well, let's get out of here. I'm Candler.
I'm Brian. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is Grab The Remote Mandosode.